Hey guys, welcome back. This is Forever Bearfoot Adventures. We're getting ready to get on the glass bottom boat, so stay tuned. Okay guys, here we go. We're getting on the boat. This is the glass bottom boat. Welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully I don't fall and make a fool of myself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Mack, and I'm going to be your guide and captain today. I want to welcome you aboard the Chief of Matla. Chief of Matla is one of the 1965 era glass bottom boats here at the Silver Springs. Thank you. This is the Silver River. It is a unique river in that every drop of water you see beneath the glass came out of the ground. We have 123 springs in this river, feeding us approximately 805 million gallons of water a day.
And that's why.
The water, tested not long ago, was found to be 98.104% pure. The number one contaminant in our water is called nitrates. That is a base compound for most fertilizers. Now this first spring we're coming up to is called the Spring of Stars. Now we got that name because dignitaries and people who are full of themselves will bring themselves over here for 2 minutes and then go back to the dock. Y'all are not that lucky if that's what you're looking for. This spring is 26 feet down. It is kicking out in the average of 230 to 250,000 gallons of water every hour into the river. You see the piranha wannabe down there? Those are bluegill or brim. People say they were tasty fish. I have a problem with them. That boat they pulled in right alongside of us here as we were leaving, that's skippered by a man named Oscar Collins. Been doing this job for 50 years and he feeds the fish every day. So they see a green hull, they come looking for food. They get around me, they get next to my motor, and you'll see a fillet of fish shoot across my glass. I know the boat well. It also creates an abnormal amount of dependency on us. The worst part about that is I can't cure it. If I could, I wouldn't have a 30-year-old still living at home. By the way, that spring's called a horizontal. I mean, the fissure goes from left to right.
Oh, sorry. That's okay.
How deep is it?
26 feet.
26 feet deep.
The next spring we're coming over is my favorite. It is called the Abyss. Now, prior to the state taking over in 2013, it used to be called the Bridal Chamber. They had us change the name. Not sure there's a difference in the name, but it is a vertical, which means it's a hole in the ground. And it is the largest vertical spring vent in the state, pumping out close to 400,000 gallons of water every hour. Now back in 2013, when the state was taking over the park, they sent people out here to survey these springs. The two divers that came here took their tanks off, went down into this crevasse, tank first, logging 81 feet down. I forgot a sentence in the middle of that. They went down about 18 feet. It slopes over to the right towards that hump where it opens up into a huge cavern or chamber down there, hence the name Bridal Chamber. It's the size of 3 of these boats side by side and 81 feet deep.
Wow.
They did come back up. They're part of the volunteers who come in here once a month. They'll do silly things like clean the relics, clean the wreckage, pick up trash. This area beneath us right here is called the Springs of Life. Now I'm not sure why they call it that, because to be honest with you, it looks pretty dead down there. Of the 123 springs in this river, 41 of them are right here in this one little alcove or lagoon. And as you look and see some of them down there, you see just a little bit of hint that water's flowing through them. That's why I don't understand why they make so much to it. But I'm so glad we got something else here to look at besides those springs. Coming up underneath my front glass is some wood down there. Now the uniqueness of that wood is there's several species, a big one right there and then a really long one alongside that rock formation. And if you take all of those pieces and put them together, you got a 63-foot long dugout canoe. Now 63 feet long is unique in its own right, meaning it's either royal or ceremonial, but the best part about it is its age. It has been deemed between 590 and 620 years old. That means it is not Seminole. It is actually Timucuan. Now the Timucua were tribes of Native Americans that lived here, some say as far back as 1,100 years ago, all the way through the year 1821. And we do know that because that is the year that Spain completed its evacuation of Florida after ceding or giving it to the United States. Now, I don't know if they gave it to it, they lost it, you know, whatever. But I do know that they wound up ceding it and leaving. Now, the Timucua had been fighting the British and then Americans for well over 300 years, decided that they would leave with their only friend and ally. And so they did something politically incorrect in this day and age. They actually packed their bags and immigrated to the island of Cuba, where their bloodline as a race of Native Americans ceases to exist. But right now, I'm going to bring you over another spring. And we call this spring coming up here, we call it the Blue Grotto. Now, the Blue Grotto is a magnitude 1 spring, or first magnitude rated spring. It is, in fact, 34 feet down to a 3-foot diameter cup. Now, what makes it a magnitude 1 or first magnitude spring is that it kicks out in excess of 100 cubic feet of water per second. If you do the math, 7.43 gallons to a cubic foot means it's pumping out in the neighborhood of 743 gallons every second. Which pretty much means 64. Oh, whoa, there goes a cormorant.
It's a loon. Looked like a loon.
It was a cormorant chasing a fish.
Thank you.
The little bits of granules of limestone you see down there, they're all part of the limestone formation. It's a huge rock that goes from North Florida all the way down through just south of Braden and Sarasota, where it filters the water absolutely phenomenally. Now, as we head back out into the river, I like to talk about a day in history, and that day was back in 1938, when the owner of the park at the time, Colonel Toohey, decided he was going to build a new attraction here at the park, and so he went and bought a dozen of the rhesus macaque monkeys, took them down to Raccoon Island, where he built habitats for them. He built feeding stations for them. He turned around and he cut the branches on the trees, both on the island and land, facing each other so they couldn't jump tree to tree and escape, and then put them on the island. Now, according to the National Geographic's video we watched on it, they put them on the island and backed away. The driver said, as we backed away, the colonel lit a cigar and then popped a cork on a bottle of champagne to celebrate his marketing coup. And that is when the monkeys got startled and they swam off the island. Now, in the 80 plus years since, they have gone and populated to the point where we have approximately 700 of them in the North Central Florida area around here, with 178 of them here in the park. Off to the right, you'll see a big old beige building through the trees. That is known as the Mansion. Built back in 1993 as a concert venue. And we've had the likes of Reba McEntire, Clint Black, Travis Tritt, REO Speedwagon, and Willie Nelson, to name a few. Our last concert was a man by the name of Glenn Campbell. Not his, but ours. And that was because right after that concert is when we officially became a state park. State parks closed from dark until dawn, so it's kind of hard to have that romantic candlelight or that spontaneous flicky brick moment thing going on at noon. Sort of. Now, we talked earlier about the Timucua and the Seminole Nation. The Timucua left in 1821, and in 1830, under the leadership of the Muskegon tribes, the Seminole Nation got into a little hoop-brouhaha with the U.S. government. It lasted for 3 weeks, and the Seminole Nation suffered a disastrous defeat. In the ensuing 2 to 3 years, they had a few skirmishes, but in 1833, they sued for peace. And when they did, they were represented by a man named Osceola. Osceola's father was Scottish. He was actually born Billy Powell in Alabama. He lived there for the first 13 years of his life, and when his father died, he moved with his mother back here to Brighton. And in doing so, he wound up representing the Seminole Nation in his early 20s.
Oh, wow.
He didn't like what he was seeing, reading, or hearing, and as a result, he rejected the peace treaty talks and started the second of 3 Seminole Indian Wars. The statue on my right represents that iconic moment in time when he became famous. Now, the first Indian War started in 1803, and the third abruptly ended in 1861 when we became embroiled in a civil war. After that Civil War, another one of our colonels by the name of George Armstrong Custer done learned him a lesson about messing with Native Americans. So the taste for Indian wars was over. Now, every war we've ever been in, we have a treaty. For instance, a treaty with Germany and Japan, a truce with North Korea, but nothing with the Seminole Nation. So technically, we're still at war. And if we are, they're winning. And the proof that they're kicking the pants off us is that tree right here. Aside from it being a female landhinger's resting spot, that is the Lucky Horseshoe Palm. Tradition holds, if you get your picture taken in the crux of the Lucky Horseshoe Palm, you'll have 5 years of good luck. And I have that on the absolute authority of the marketing director of the Seminole Hard Rock Cafe. Till about 15,000 years ago, this was but a bubbly little brook going down to the Ocklawaha. And then we had us a sinkhole. Now as sinkholes go, it's not that great, but it's 42 feet deep and 150 feet across. And it ripped an opening into the aquifer, 10 feet high at its highest point and 66 feet wide. It is kicking out in the neighborhood of 520 to 550 million gallons of water every single day. That's 21 million gallons of water every hour coming out of the hole in the wall you see under my front glass. That is Mammoth Springs, so named because of the woolly mammoth bones they found down there. Those bones, by the way, are over the other entrance over there in the museum. Your gate pass gets you in there as well. Jerry Lewis did a movie back in 1959 called Don't Give Up the Ship, and the crop they used downriver at Raccoon Island is still down there.
Is it okay?
So technically, Don't Give Up the Ship did just that. And they did an episode of a TV show called I Spy back in 1967 with Robert Culp and Bill Cosby. Now when they did, they had a dozen statues in the water. When they got done, they left these 3 down here for y'all to look at. Now when I started working here, they told me these 3 statues were named after Greek gods. Zeus, Hades, and Thor. When they told me Thor, I knew they didn't know Greek mythology. So I renamed them. The one you see there on the left all by himself, that's Bill.
Those are people.
The one in the middle leaning forwards, that's Harvey. And the one on the right leaning backwards, that's Bill too. Now Bill too is kind of weird. He was in the news a couple of months ago. It seems he wrote a book with a fella named Patterson. Those statues are 7 feet tall. They're on a ledge, 25 feet down. That means there's only 18 feet between us. Anybody want a selfie with a Greek god statue? No?
No.
If y'all change your mind, there's 2 of them up in the Education Center, which is where you have to go for that. That does bring us to a conclusion of our 30-minute tour. I did take longer than 30 minutes. Oh, well.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much for joining me today. Please watch your step as you disembark. Might have a bad habit of tripping, and I hope not. On behalf of the State Park Service, thank you for joining us. And folks, from the heart, have a good day, good friend, all day. God bless y'all and take care. Thank you. Y'all take care. God bless you.
Thank you guys for sharing this ride with us in this adventure. This is Fred with Bearfoot Adventures, and I'll see you around the campfire. Okay guys, like I promised, here's the next question, so make sure you leave a comment below. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be and why? So make sure you leave a comment below. Alright? Thank you.